and talk about an experience that I had last week. And I posted a post on Facebook about it, but it was regarding the father wound. So I've been kind of believing that I am carrying this father wound, and to a certain extent, yeah, I've been affected by, some choices that my father had made. He died when I was 25, so he's no longer with us. But the intensity of your parents and their relationship and their kind of how they mold you is important. But, and there is a but, I had a I was basically doing trigger alchemy last week. So I had a situation where a plan was made and then it wasn't followed through with on several occasions last week, and that triggered this abandonment, this fear of abandonment with me, and this fear of rejection within me. And so I was literally just laying on the floor, laying on my bed, crying and calling out to God, like, why is this happening? And last week I did the episode 24, I believe, on divine vortex, which is the divine union relationship and how it kind of vortexes, and you want it to be that vortex because you're an energy center. So I'm doing this, and with keeping in mind that I had done this divine vortex episode, and so I was teaching on it. And so as I'm like tearing up and just full on crying, like deep in the feeling of it, I saw a king-like figure. So it would be something along the lines of like an animated king figure that you would see typically, like the gray beard, the gray hair, the white beard, white hair, unkempt, has a crown, looks pretty jolly. And I just saw that vision. And I'm not necessarily a visual person. I'm a little bit more audio verbal than I am visio-spatial. I have a little bit harder time envisioning things in my mind, which I'm coming to find is an odd situation. So I see this king and I'm deep in it, and I just hear this really strong enough, and it basically cuts whatever situation that I was in, the tears, the victimhood, the feeling sorry for myself. And I had come to realize that the father wound is not mine to carry. It's not ours to carry. It belongs to our fathers. And I'm talking about a situation that I experienced last week. PNW Wild Man. Hello, Cam the man. Welcome. LK Radake. Is that how you say it? So, in all of my discussions about inner king and inner queen, this is where transformation can happen, and alchemization of certain victim status that you might have. It really opened my eyes. Did I say it right, Radek? All right. It really opened my eyes to how we label ourselves, and it transformed the way that I'm going to be talking to myself. And I encourage you guys to kind of take a look at how you talk to yourself and how you label yourself, and what stigmas you have attached to you. And do you want those stigmas attached to you? So saying like, I have a father wound, or I have a mother wound, or I have this wound or that wound, or this avoidant attachment or anxious attachment, or whatever the thing is, like, how are you labeling yourself? And how can you take the way that you're talking to yourself and change it slightly so that it has a little bit more, it doesn't label you in this negative victim-y way, that it's a piece of you and you can honor it and let it go. Bohannon, welcome. So I wanted to share that because it was such a powerful experience, and it, like I said, opened my eyes to how I talk to myself and what I'm carrying, like what energy I'm carrying. So we have all these contracts that we may not know about. We have all these connections that we may not even be conscious of. And until it's conscious, you're unable to do anything about it. And this is where energetic boundaries will come into play. This is where what you're tied to is going to come into play. Like, this was a huge discovery or epiphany, or I don't even know what word to put on it right now, but it was such a huge transformative experience for me that I'm like still wrapping my mind around how powerful it was. So that whole experience happened, I think that was on Thursday. And so Thursday I'm like tending to my wound and transforming that, like really severing out like whatever piece that was and pulling it out of myself. And then on Saturday, I met with my older son. He's 19, he's going to be 20 next month. And I met with him. And, part of my heart knew that he was struggling because he had called me a few times, just feeling really despairy. And I knew that he was going through a really difficult time. And I met with him, and he was like, Mom, I've really transformed my life. And like, I've been having so many spiritual experiences this year, and like, I'd really like to understand it a lot more, and I really want to talk to you about it. So, in all of my work, this is just another piece. It's not the same, but it's in the same realm. When you work on your inner world, the endogenous like experience that you're having, or the stimulus that's coming into your field, when you really truly work on getting your inner monarchy aligned in your temple and clearing out these victim feelings, victim wounds, victim experiences, when you truly surrender and let them go, the impact does have an effect on your children. It has an effect on your relationships. Some people may be pushed out of your field because they can't be around you and they can't contain you. And that's okay, because when things leave, nature abhors a vacuum, new things will come in. So you have to let go in order for new things to come in. In letting go of that story that I was holding on to, that I was a victim of this father wound that I was carrying around, the realization, like when that enough came in, it was like a booming enough. Like, it was really powerful. And like I said, I am not a very visual person. Like, it would be really nice to have a lot more visual like in your head visual stuff. So when people talk to me, I don't see things necessarily. I hear it and like experience the words of it. I don't know how to best describe that, but I think a lot of people, when they hear things, they visualize it. They have this visual, like brilliant visual sight into what's being said. And I don't know what it is. And if anybody has any information on why that is, it would be really nice. But when that enough came in, it was like it is finished. That is done. And you're not carrying that anymore. So I'm sharing this to show you as a demonstration of how powerful the inner work is, how powerful it is to really connect with that inner king and inner queen. What I've come to see based on experiences is that this inner world that you have is a part of the external world. So the inner world becomes the outer world. Like whatever you're experiencing is going to come to you. That's why everybody has these different experiences here on this realm. And I know that there's people out there that do understand these concepts and may have a little bit more information. So I'm imploring you, if you have some information on it, please share it. But in this last, not even week, it's been the last 4 days, I've had not only my king come to me and comfort me, but also my oldest son come to me asking to help him to remember. And these are powerful things. So, on top of that, I was I was like, "Oh my gosh, what kind of experience is this? This is a very transformative experience. How how does this apply to, I don't know why it just came to me. I was like, I'm just going to deep dive into the Muria and what else? Into mermaids and really look at those archetypal aspects of those beings. And it was pretty interesting because the Lumeria myth or story is that they used crystal energy, which our bodies are made out of crystal energy, not not all crystal obviously, but it has crystal elements, and emotional intelligence, and what was the other thing? But they're like this divine feminine lost world, and it's like being a part of that is like almost this Lemurian transformation that I'm experiencing and really deepening into and becoming more regulated in. So I wanted to pop in and share that with you guys, and curious to hear what you have to say about it. And I want to get, I think the biggest message here is to really be goal oriented and really like, I I think it's really interesting because I would classify myself as a masculine, hyper masculinized woman, but my energy says otherwise. Like I'm very much feminine. I'm very receptive. I've got a lot of that yang energy, not the yin energy. That's almost like a reversal of roles. My gifting lies in my feminine energy. But in order to strengthen that, one must develop a strong inner masculine relationship with herself. Like if you're typically like heavy queen energy, you want to establish a really healthy king energy, and the other way around, because my mission here is harmony. That is my gifting, And so finding the equilibrium within yourself and really centering on that balance of energy as the next step into your own personal evolution is like my gift to the this 3D experience. And so my experience this past week or these past 4 days has really shown me to one, get really serious about your goals. Two, get really serious about your boundaries. Get really serious about your needs and your desires for for those who are like me, who have a lot of empathy, a lot of social awareness, and care about others and care about service. This piece is very important for you to really anchor in to who you are and be grounded and be calm and show up every day doing the things that you need to do. And I'll be honest, like I have not been serious about where I want to go. I haven't been serious about building. I haven't been serious about, I've been really lackadaisical about all of these masculine frameworks that I need in order to really build a solid foundation into where I'm going. And, you know, I have these glimpses of visions of where I'm going to be, but I haven't really sat down and got serious with it. So when you are working out your purpose and your future, it really is important to get serious about who you are going to become, like that becoming part, the remembering part of why you're here and what kind of legacy you're going to leave for the generations beyond you. And I know that I feel it deep in my heart. There's so many people out there that they come to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you know, my son or my my niece or nephew or whoever like in my life, they're turned away from me and they're living a life that is kind of leading to destruction." And the only way that I can see, because you can't control other people. I knew I couldn't control anything that my son did, especially now, like he's an adult. And so when you're looking to help transform those in your family line, your lineage, even your ancestors, like I love the idea of who my father was to me. Like he was a portal, part of the portal that brought me into this world. He was part of that activation. And so I do honor him for that. However, he had this wound that I needed to stop carrying and stop owning. It wasn't mine. I didn't have anything to do with that. I had no control over it whatsoever. Yet, for 41 years, I'm carrying that wound as if it's something that describes me. And I'll be even a little bit more upfront. When I realized it, it wasn't until I was, in my 30s that I realized it. So it's been an interesting turn of events, but this is the time to get serious. So I will go on later today. I want to do another part of the digital age series, and I have some outlines that I'm going to be discussing, so I'll post that later, maybe in a little bit. I'm going to get myself situated this morning. I've been up since 5. I got up at 5 and I was like, let's go. I was feeling really motivated. So I'm going to do some digital age stuff. And then tomorrow I am going to be talking in my podcast about feminine communication and why it's important to have that feminine communication and to really be soft and lean back and really put it on our masculine counterparts to come up with the ideas and the problem solving and how are they going to solve the issues? And that, we as feminine, divine feminine women do want to allow that space for them to come up with the solutions and be a part of it. And I've been reading about chemicals, and I'll tell you, like last week, it was just a chemical, like an oxytocin, serotonin chemical roller coaster for me. It was just like really a whole bunch of that, a dopamine hits, whatever, and then like this really deep recovery phase of whatever that was. And so, when I'm looking at my energy, I'm like, okay, I got to be really serious about where am I going with this? Do I want to continue going down that roller coaster? It's activating, but it's also like the deactivation process of it is a little difficult as well. So, I will see you guys later. I hope that this was something that was interesting to you. I want to make some reels about it just to kind of break it down and share the information because it was such a powerful initiation to me. So, anyways, thank you guys for coming on, watching. If you're interested in following more of my work, I've got a couple podcasts. I've got a podcast, Celestic Intelligence Podcast. And I have this alternative series, which is just an investigation into the digital age of human and technology integration, what that's going to look like, what it already is, and some potential outcomes of where that's going. So you can find both of those playlists on my channel, and I will see you guys later. Cheers. How do I get out of here?